So for today's craft, I'm gonna see if I can turn this pile of sticks into some decent looking tabletop trees. How hard could this really be? These sticks are practically trees already, right? So for best practices, we want to put these sticks in the oven at about 130 degrees for, say, 1 hour. So let's just go ahead and pretend I did that. So the first thing I gotta do is get these sticks down to more manageable sizes. For this, I went all Paul Bunyan with my hacksaw. This is a very slim blade, and it cut through these sticks with no problem. Made sure to cut the branches at like a 45-degree angle, so that way when I glued them onto the other, let's say, trunk-sized branch, things kind of blended together much better. For the bases of these trees, I decided to use these old wooden bases I had lying around. So to get a really strong connection, I made sure to use wire and hot glue so everything pinned together nicely. And then after I got impatient, I just used hot glue. So after I got all my sticks glued together, I decided that I was done trying to make this a quick project. But I took some floral wire and made some wire branches. But I do feel like this is a good payoff for look and speed, as the majority of the tree is still made from just a few twigs. So you probably can't see exactly what I'm doing here, so let me recreate it with these pipe cleaners for you. See, the trick is to start with a bunch of, let's say, 5 wires, and you wrap those all together to make one big branch. And then every so often, grab a pair and split them off to make another branch. And you kind of just work your way out of the tree until you basically run out of wire. Like I'm doing here. And after that, you got a pretty convincing looking tree branch. And if you thought tips like that are useful, be sure to hit that like button down in the corner. It really helps the channel branch out. Once I got about 5 branches made for each tree, I then hot glued them to my twigs. I then took my trees to the barber and gave them a bit of a trim. While I do that, let's take a quick moment to thank my tremendous new patron, Sid Victus. So now I gotta make those wire branches look more like wooden branches. And for that, I use this Vallejo basing medium. And I'm not gonna lie, this process took a long time. Definitely a couple of nights of hobbying. But hey, thankfully, to the magic of editing, you don't have to watch that. At this point, I also use that basing compound to cover up any hot glue or fill any gaps between the twigs, because I mean, why not? So at this point, I was feeling really good about this build until I showed them to my friend Leif over at Devs and Dice. Basically what he pointed out to me was that the trees were just way too top heavy and the trunk needed to be bulked out a bit. And once I saw the problem, I couldn't unsee it. But I mean, what does he know about building trees with a tabletop? Okay, I get it. I'll fix it, Leif, it's fine.
Whoa, hey.
So to fix this, I took some DOS clay I had sitting in the bottom of my workbench somewhere. It was practically dried out, so I just rolled some sausages and stuck them to the sides of the trunk. So since this clay was basically dried out already, I didn't have to wait long for it to finish. And then afterwards, I took my basing medium and covered the whole thing with that, including the base. Okay, so I'm giving Leif a hard time, and honestly, I don't know how big of a deal it's gonna be when I'm actually playing it on the tabletop, because it's gonna be kind of a downward looking angle, but I do appreciate Leif helping me take this project to the next level. These trees look a lot better now. So the browns weren't really matching together between the basing compound and the natural colors of the twig. So I decided I need to put some paint on this project. But I kept this part really simple. So I didn't prime these trees. I started with a white ink from a downward angle. Then after that was applied, I did a spattering of a brown inkish color. You would think after 15 years, I know how to use an airbrush by now. I then decided to use a darker brown contrast paint to add some shadows, focusing on the underside of the trees and down in the crevices where shadows would grow. This also really helped define the roots that I had sculpted on. I mean, if we're gonna take the time to make them, we might as well highlight them. I then tied everything together with another light brown ink wash, breaking the mold with the brown tree trunk. So at this point, the trees were looking pretty good. I mean, I was pretty happy with them, but they were also looking dead. So it was time to add some greenery. So for that, I used some reindeer moss. I found this stuff at my local gardening shop. I just glued that moss down with white PVA glue. I tried 2 different tones, this dark green and this lighter green. On my first tree, I decided to mix the 2 tones together, and this looked okay in the end. But for the other 2, I just stuck to one color. I think the dark color looks best. But hey, just tell me in the comments what you think. But in the end, I wanted a more leaf-looking texture, so I used this stuff from Woodland Scenics. I don't think it's from Woodland Scenics. I just said that because they make tree stuff. So I just sprinkled it all over my trees. It kind of looks like oregano. Now, for my test tree, I tried to use a spray adhesive, but that ended up giving this weird cobweb look. While cool, it wasn't a look I was going for this project. So I just went back to my tried and true method of white glue and water, mixed in a 50-50 ratio. So to answer my original question, is this a fast way to make trees? Not really. But if I'm honest with myself, there was definitely several points where I could have called this project done and had some good looking trees if I was trying to like crank out a bunch of terrain for a tournament or something like that. But I was having a lot of fun with this build, and I really just kind of wanted to keep trying to take it to the next level. And in the end, I'm really happy I did. I feel like these trees have a great dark forest kind of vibe to them, and look really cool. For more photos of my work over on my Instagram and other socials. You can check them out down below. And if you're trying to build your own wilderness terrain set, be sure to check out my foam hills. They go great with these trees.